So before we get to the Box Jenkins method for forecasting, we need to review autoregressive versus moving average. Because one thing you got to remember about Box Jenkins method is it uses the ARIMA model, which is ARIMA, which is autoregressive integrated moving average. So it combines these two together. So we'll first try to understand what each of these is.
Progressive makes it easy to save with a quick commercial auto quote online.
Some classmates ask me a very good question. You introduced the autoregressive model and the moving average model to me, but what is the difference between the two? How can I use these two models to perform some time series analysis? This is a very good question. Let's talk about the difference between the two models, AR and MA models, in this lecture. Before we talk about the example, let's have a quick review on the AR and MA model. If you look at the AR model, this model assumes that the current value is dependent on the values that happens in the previous days. Because of this assumption, we can build a linear regression model between the value of the current day and the values that happens in the previous days. But if you look at the MA model, this model assumes that the value of the current day is dependent on the error terms, including the current error terms and the previous error terms. What is the key feature of the error terms? They are random, right? There is no linear relationship between the current value and the error terms. So if we want to use the MA model, we cannot build a linear regression relationship between the current value and the error terms. This is an overview of the difference between the two models. But I think it will be better if I use an example to show you the difference. Let's take a look at the example. In this data set, I collected Facebook stock prices over a 1-year period, as you can see here. They are ranked according to the date's ascending order, and then I have the closing price. Let's perform the AR analysis first. First, I want to make a copy of this data set. Let's press and hold the Control key on your keyboard, and then drag the FB to the right side. And then you will get a copy of the data set, right? Double click FB2, and then let's change to FB AR. Press enter. As we just discussed, if we want to use the AR analysis, we assume that we can build a linear regression model between today's stock price and the stock prices of previous days. Let's say we want to look 3 days back. That means we can build a linear regression model between today's stock price and the stock price of yesterday, stock price of the day before yesterday, and the stock price of 2 days before yesterday. So let's reorganize this data set. Let's change the title row close to T. That means the stock price of the current day, right? And then in C1, I want to type in T minus 1. That means we want to collect the stock price of yesterday. And then T minus 2, stock price of the day before yesterday, and then T minus 3, stock price of 2 days before yesterday. How can we get T minus 1, T minus 2, and T minus 3 values? They are here. They are in the T column, right? Let's copy from B2 to the last cell in the B column. Let's make a copy. And then in the T minus 1 column, I want to do this. I want to choose cell C3 as a starting point, and then paste the values I just copied. What does this new column mean? These are the stock prices of yesterday. Let's see an example. Let's say today is November 22nd, 2016. We want to find the stock price of yesterday. What is it? It should be 1 day back, right? 121.77. This is what we got from yesterday. Let's see another example. Let's say today is November 23rd, 2016. We want to look at yesterday's stock price. It would be the stock price of November 22nd, right? $121.47. This is what we get from yesterday. This is how you get the stock price of yesterday. What about 2 days back? It's very simple. We just click in the D column, we just click D4. We choose D4 as the starting point, and then paste the values, we just copy it. In the E column, we choose cell E5 as the starting point, and then paste it up. Notice that we have some empty cells, right? We cannot use empty cells to build a linear regression model, so let's just remove them. Let's select the second row, third row, and fourth row, and then right-click on these rows, and then click Delete. At the end of this dataset, we also have some empty cells. Let's choose the last 3 rows, and then right-click on these 3 rows, and then click Delete. Now we are ready to perform the linear regression model. Let's click Data tab on the top, and then choose Data Analysis, and then click Regression. Let's choose the regression option. Click OK. For the Y range, we need to choose the T column. Let's click the button and then select B1 to the last cell in the B column. B249. And then in the Y range, we need to choose the T-1, T-2, and T-3 columns. From C1 to E249. The last cell in the E column. And then check labels, and then click OK. This is the linear regression model we got from our time series analysis. First, you need to look at the estimates for coefficients of T-1, T-2, and T-3. They are all positive numbers. That means the stock prices of previous days have a positive influence on today's stock price. And then you want to look at the p-values of these 3 factors. Which one is significant? Looks like among the 3 factors, only T-1, the value of T-1 is significant. What does this mean? That means the stock price of yesterday has a significant influence on today's stock price. And then we want to look at the R-squared value. It's almost 100%, right? That means previous trading days can highly explain today's stock price. How can we build the final result model? Let me type it in. I want to type in Y parentheses T. This means the current stock price equals to the coefficient of the significant factor 0.96. 0.96 times Y parentheses T-1. This is a linear regression relationship between the current stock price and the stock price of yesterday. How can we use this model? Let's say we want to predict tomorrow's Facebook stock price, and the current stock price for Facebook is $100 per share. And then we replace YT-1 with $100. We use 0.96 times $100. 96 would be the predicted stock price according to our current linear model. This is how you use the AR to perform time series analysis.
At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot.
Let's talk about the MA model. Let's go back to the original data set. And then we want to press and hold the Control key on the keyboard, and then drag the FB tab to the right side. And then we want to double click FB2, and then change it to FB MA. We want to perform the moving average analysis in this spreadsheet. Press enter. When we use MA model, we cannot build a linear regression model between today's stock price and the stock prices of previous days. What we can do is to use the average value of the previous stock prices as the predicted value for the current stock price. This is how. In C1, I want to type in a title. Let's call this predicted. Let's say we want to use the average value of the stock prices 3 days back as the predicted value of the current stock price. Because we want to look at 3 days back, so the first day we can predict is the fourth day, right? It will be in cell C5. In C5, I want to type in an equal sign and then type in average. I want to use the average function. And then I want to select the stock prices 3 days back. It will be B2, B3, B4. And then parentheses. Press enter. This will be the moving average value of the fourth day stock price. I can do the same for the next day. In cell C6, I want to type in equal sign and then type in average. And then let's choose cell B3, B4, and B5. This will be the predicted value according to the moving average. I can do the same for the rest of the cells. I just need to click on cell C6 and then double click the autofill button to predict the rest of the C column. What if I want to use the moving average to predict tomorrow's stock price? I just need to click the last cell in the C column and then drag the autofill button of C252. According to the current moving average model, $178.84 would be the predicted value for Facebook tomorrow. This is how we use a moving average. Moving average is relatively simpler than the AR analysis, but in practice, in stock analysis, we usually use moving average. Why? Because a stock price is influenced by a lot of unexpected factors. They are very similar to the error terms. The unexpected events just randomly happens. We cannot control it. There is no linear regression relationship between the unexpected event and the stock price. That's why you can see in practice, the MA model is more frequently used in the stock analysis.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Let's talk about the ACF and the PAC.
All right. So that is the difference between autoregressive and moving average.